Good morning. Today is Monday, June 2nd, and this is Wake Up with KERA News. I'm Andrew Garcia. We've got some pretty typical weather for the start of June in North Texas. There's a slight chance of thunderstorms this morning, but it'll be sunny and warm for most of the day. Highs will reach into the upper 80s, lower 90s or so. Former President Biden recently announced his aggressive prostate cancer, but that is not necessarily something that those with enlarged prostates will need to worry about. We'll hear why after today's news. Today is the last day of the 89th Texas Legislature. Over the weekend, the Texas House and Senate worked to compromise on still pending bills. The Texas Newsroom's Blaze Gainey has an update.
Both chambers came to an agreement on several high-profile bills this weekend. That included Senate Bill 8, which requires that Texas sheriffs enter into agreements with ICE to enforce immigration law. Another one, Senate Bill 7 and Joint Resolution 7, which would make a multi-billion-dollar investment into the state's water infrastructure. That'll still need voter approval before taking effect. Lawmakers also agreed to expand Texas' compassionate use program for medical marijuana. The program will now allow for more official dispensaries, increasing the number of licenses in Texas from 3 to 15. They also broadened who can participate. I'm Blaze Gainey in Austin.
A popular North Texas mall has been pulled from auction and saved from foreclosure. KERA's Priscilla Rice reports.
Brookfield Properties, the owner of Town East Mall in Mesquite, was facing foreclosure on a more than $160 million loan. In a statement to KERA, Brookfield spokesperson Lindsay Kahn said the loan issue had been resolved and the foreclosure will be pulled as first reported by the Dallas Business Journal. She says Brookfield will continue to own and operate the mall, quote, for the foreseeable future. Mesquite has been working to develop the property with Brookfield. The city council in May voted to bring the entertainment venue Main Event to take the place of the former Sears store. And earlier this year, the council approved a tax incentive to keep the Macy's anchor store at Town East for at least 5 more years. For KERA News, I'm Priscilla Rice in Dallas.
Former President Biden recently revealed he has an aggressive form of prostate cancer that has spread to his bones. That may provoke concern in men with an enlarged prostate, but Texas health urologist Dr. Pat Fulgham explains to KERA's Sam Bekah why they need not worry.
An enlarged prostate is a common consequence of aging, and a fairly high percentage of men in their 50s, 60s, and 70s have symptoms of an enlarged prostate. But there's no evidence that puts them at increased risk for prostate cancer. Of course, it's also true that prostate cancer is more common as men age, so both get more common with age, but they're not directly related.
Are there any similarities even in symptoms between the two?
Prostate cancer has very few symptoms in its early phase, in fact, none until it becomes advanced in most cases. If it's very advanced, it can cause some blockage of the urinary tract, some irritative voiding symptoms, frequency and urgency. Those are also symptoms associated with benign enlargement of the prostate. But prostate cancer causes no symptoms until it's far advanced.
Does enlarged prostate ever lead to something more serious than that?
The only significant health consequences of an enlarged prostate, aside from the bother associated with the symptoms, is if you develop a condition where the bladder does not empty completely, you may be more prone to get urinary tract infections. Over a very long period of time, it can compromise kidney function by increasing the pressure in the bladder. That pressure is transmitted back up to the kidneys, and then the kidneys stop cleansing the blood effectively. That's called renal failure, but that's a very uncommon consequence of untreated benign enlargement of the prostate.
How do you treat enlarged prostate?
Well, there are several ways. If the symptoms are mild, you can treat it by surveillance only. If the symptoms are more concerning, for instance, frequency and urgency, so that you occasionally lose control of your urine, or getting up very frequently to urinate, or going to the bathroom every hour or two during the day and night, those symptoms can be treated initially usually with medication. We have two kinds of medicine. One relaxes the opening of the bladder and makes it easier to urinate, and the other physically shrinks the size of the prostate gland.
Who's at risk for enlarged prostate?
Any man who's aging is at risk for benign enlargement of the prostate. We don't know precisely what causes it. It may be a change in the balance between certain hormones in a man's system as he ages. It's associated sometimes with obesity or metabolic syndrome or diabetes, but it's unclear exactly how those conditions would lead to an enlarged prostate. So they're more likely to be associations than cause and effect. It also appears to be true that there's a genetic component, so that if you have a male relative, a father or a brother with benign enlargement of the prostate, you're also more likely to have that condition.
Is there anything you'd like to add to this?
Yeah, I think as men think about their prostates, the condition that's more likely to cause them significant harm in their lifetime is prostate cancer. And this should be a wake-up call for all of those who don't get an annual physical exam to consider doing that, and to include the PSA blood test as a screening examination for prostate cancer on an annual basis once you reach age 45. Men who have a first-degree male relative with prostate cancer, father, brother, uncle, should start at age 40. African American men should start at age 40, since there's a racial predilection to get prostate cancer earlier in Black men. And for all others, begin at age 45 with an annual PSA blood test.
That was KERA's Sam Baker speaking with Dr. Pat Fulgham with Texas Health. The Texas Rangers won against the Cardinals yesterday 8-1, winning 2 of their 3 games this weekend. And the Wings continue to struggle to find their footing, losing another game against the Chicago Sky 94-83 on Saturday. They have just 1 win so far this season and are currently tied for last place in the league. Summer break means summer camp for the kiddos. Coppell High School Choir hosts the Coppell Summer Music Camp. Kids 3rd to 8th grade can expect singing, dancing, and fun at this week-long camp. Find more information and some other fun things to do on our Go See DFW calendar at kera.org/calendar. Thanks so much for listening to Wake Up with KERA News. I'm your host, Andrew Garcia. This show is produced and edited by Shardae White and Bekah Morr. For more news in your inbox, visit kera.org/wakeup. That's where you can subscribe to the Wake Up with KERA News newsletter and get some good morning vibes from our colleague, Catherine Hobbs. Connect with us on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok at KERATX. Happy Monday, and we'll see you tomorrow.